Now for a story that we have been following for a number of weeks. John McAfee on the run in Belize, saying he is wanted by police in connection with a murder. He says he is innocent. He joined us by phone on November 16th, and he rejoins us now again from an undisclosed location. Robert Frank, a wealth reporter, and I got to give credit to Jeff Pullman, the producer. They have been following this story. They secured the interview, so I'm going to let Robert take the first question.
Thanks, Brian. John, are you with us?
I'm with you, sir, yes.
Great. Thanks so much. Well, it's been about 3 weeks since that American was murdered in Belize and about 3 weeks since you've been on the run. Can you tell us now, where are you and what has your life been like for these past 3 weeks?
I am still in Belize. My life has been sort of up and down from a comfort standpoint. I move around frequently, and currently my life has become a little more intense. The police raided my San Pedro compound yesterday. I made off with about $500,000 worth of stuff. Interestingly enough, they denied that they were ever there. However, I posted on my blog an audio recording of the caretaker who was there. It's a very moving recording where they threatened to torture him if they didn't tell him where I was. All that is online on the blog, whoismcafee.com. They terrorized my housekeeper, threatened to kill her if she said anything. We will be posting more audio interviews today on the blog from people who, in fact, saw it. I had a 10-minute warning before the raid began, and I sent one of my boats up from Coastal Express filled with American tourists, all of who saw the raid. They were not anticipating that. So clearly today they will have to admit that there was one. I don't know how they're going to characterize it, but my life is becoming a bit more intense.
Now, John, I'm going to get to that raid in a minute. I did speak with the police, and they did admit that they were there. But in the meantime, when you've been in hiding, have you had disguises? Have you actually been in public? How have you been eating? What have you been sleeping on? Tell us a little bit more about the details of your life these past 3 weeks.
I have been in public many times. I went shopping in public the other day. Went to buy some strawberries, which are very rare, by the way, this time if you're in Belize.
And how did you look? How did you disguise yourself?
Go ahead.
How did you disguise yourself for that? Or tell us some of the disguises you've used.
I'd rather not, because I'll be needing disguises fairly immediately, I have a feeling. And,
okay.
I will say that I will be meeting personally with CNN in a short amount of time, and I will, of course, be needing one of my disguises for that. So I can't tell you exactly what. After this is over, I'll be happy to even, demonstrate them by putting them on for you.
Are you planning or considering leaving the country at this point?
I am not. This is my home.
Okay. John, it's Brian Sullivan. Listen, your blog, which I am on, whoismcafee.com, is pretty sophisticated looking, but we also hear that you're hiding out in the jungle. How do you create such a sophisticated looking website and blog while living underground in the woods?
Well, you know what? We have things in this modern age called battery-powered laptops and telephones, and it's amazing what you can do from the middle of nowhere if you have access to a cell tower.
There's a lot of people out there, John, that listen, arguably and understandably are having trouble believing some or all of the story. Why should they?
Well, I mean, I think your co-anchors just said that they had called the police, and the police finally admitted that, yes, they were there. If you look at the press release from last night, the press release said no, there was no raid on McAfee's residence. It was only my quick thinking, or not my quick thinking, but maybe luck that allowed me to document the fact that they were, in fact, ransacking my property. I mean, who are you going to believe?
Right, John, but let me just jump here a minute, because, again, just for viewers, the police want you as a person of interest. You say you had nothing to do with this murder, but if you are interrogated or jailed, you're worried that they may actually kill you. Can you tell us your alibi? Can you tell us where you were on the night this American was murdered, so at least we know your side of the story?
Well, I was home with Samantha, and I just found out there was actually another person on the property. I have a very large compound there. There were now 9 witnesses to my whereabouts, and they were all on my property. And in fact, one of the witnesses is not exactly a friend of mine. They were staying with a woman friend of mine. Unless all 9 of these people are lying, one of which is not exactly a friend, then I had nothing to do with it. I barely knew the man. I'd spoken maybe 50 words to him in a 5-year period. I admit he was not my favorite person. He drank a lot, and he did not like my dogs. They barked. Quite frankly, the barking annoyed me too.
Now, you mentioned that you're getting a little increasingly desperate. You mentioned after this raid, the police again confirmed to me that police were at your compound. They are not categorizing that whether it was a raid or what context in which they came there. They also told me that this is a cold case at this point, meaning they don't have any new leads. Why is your situation, do you feel so desperate, and what are some possible outcomes for you at this point? What will you do, or what could you do?
Well, my situation is so desperate because this has happened to me. It's been happening to me constantly for going on 7 months. The first time was in April when 42 armed soldiers stormed my compound, arrested me, held me in the sun, handcuffed for 14 hours with my hands behind my back, gave me no food or water, arrested me, and then let me go with no charges.
Why do you think they did that?
I'm sorry?
Why do you think they did that?
I do not play by the rules. Okay. I've donated millions of dollars to this economy, to the police departments, to homeless agencies, to everyone. But I don't do it by giving the money to the government and letting them dole it out, because if I give $5 million to the government, $10,000 gets to the people, and $4 million plus change goes into the pockets of the politicians. I give directly to the people. And I've been doing this all along. For example, in Orange Walk, I bought boots, very good boots, $300 boots for every single police officer because they didn't have any. And I gave it directly to the police department with the demand that I have an inventory of who they went to. Now, how can you skim money from that? They don't have an opportunity to take. I do not donate to any political party. When I was asked to donate, I said, get the off my property. Excuse me, we're on CNN. To get off my property. They do not like this.
John, don't worry about it. We do apologize to our viewers for that. But listen, it's live TV, it's cable, and it's happened before. I see you donated $100,000 to the San Pedro Police Department recently. At least you wrote that on your blog. How much money do you have left?
Not very much, because I'm having difficulty getting some from my bank. Oddly enough, I don't know why that might be.
All right, John.
My banks are in Belize. Everything I have is here in Belize. Everyone said it's a foolish move.
I'll leave you with this. Are you armed?
Of course not.
John McAfee, listen, John, thank you very much for joining us on CNBC. Again, like we said before, be safe. Your story has sort of captivated the nation, and we'd like to see your safe return. Regardless, John, thank you.